Well, hello, and welcome to this very, very special day. Welcome to Joyful Mondays. And let us give a loving shout out to all the veterans all over the world. And may I say that it's an honor to be able to honor you, all of you, today. I am Joy Ruffin, and the work that I do is as a leadership and style consultant and a personal development strategist. And there's so much more to that. But every Monday when I come to you with a featured guest speaker. And I also come to you with lots of quotes evolving around the topic. Now, today we're talking about femininity and equality. Is it here today? As my moms would say, you betcha. We are in the movement to make it more prevalent than ever before. And today, with my featured guest speaker, we're going to be talking a lot about how you reset it when we talk about programming and conditioning. But let me start off with a few quotes, because quotes are what are aligned with our topic here today. And this is one most of you, not all of you, it's never really all, you'll remember. A feminist is anyone who recognizes the equality and full humanity of both women and men. None other than the one and only Gloria Steinem. Who remembers her? I was a wee teeny tot, but I remember her because she started a movement. It's in the making, it's in the works, but we have a lot of work yet to do. And someone else said, and this is a name, I am very bad with pronunciations. In fact, I forgot to ask my featured guest speaker how he pronounces his last name, so I'm going to gamble. But this is by a Nigerian novelist. And here's what, I'm not sure if it's a he or a she, but this is what they said. I want a world in which we no longer need feminism, because men and women will be equal. Doesn't that tie in with what I just said? There's no question about it, my friends. Today, now is a time for both men and women. Now, my work is predominantly with women, but I do love men, and I think the feeling is mutual. And I do believe in total equality. And what does it take? It takes balance. Balance is the key, because the old way, it's over and done. And I'm sure my featured guest speaker will speak to that in a different way. The underlying meaning, it's always the same. Simply put, it's a manifestation of feminine energies that are in the universe that are waiting to be awakened for both male and female. I call it the divine masculine and the divine feminine. There is no divine without the blending and the balance of both. The difference being today, it is the females that seek it all because it's a sacred, true equality that we seek, which we didn't have. No blame, no bashing, no blasting. We dropped the ball. Whatever, whenever, wherever, however, it doesn't matter anymore. Today, the awakening for both male and female, when it comes to divineness and equality and true leadership that speaks to the greatness in each and every one of us, that's what we're all about. That's where we're headed. Are you in the movement? Are you on the way? Do you believe in it as well? Here's a great takeaway before I go on to introduce you to my featured guest speaker. You know that I love food for thought. Food for thought, if I could get my speaking together here. No country in the world can say they have achieved gender equality yet. And that's by Emma Watson. It does not matter what your political persuasion might be. Now, we just went through an election there. We don't do politics, sex, or religion in the way that stirs up a conversation that's not going to be enlightening. But what she said is so true. And then the one and only. I'm chuckling because I just read it. I can't remember all this stuff, so I have to look to see. She says, it does not matter what your political persuasion might be. Let's speak to what we are invited to be today. Total equals. And that's what we're going to be talking a lot about. She said, this woman said, I believe the right of women and girls in the unfinished business of the 21st century. There's so much juice there. There's so much to explore there, and we could go on and on and on. But I want to take a quick little reset, my friends, and I want to share with you some invitations to invite you to join our featured guests, to join my group, Leading Ladies, Leaving Legacies. Because here, I get them all mixed up because I get excited. Because this Leading Ladies, Leaving Legacies is a group that you belong to. And every gent that I bring here and every gent that I meet here, there and about, they have a leading lady. And so she hopefully will know that she is welcome home here with us because her vision, her mission, and her purpose, it matters. So please take a screenshot or a snapshot and join us there. And friends, for the first time, I'm going to be introducing you to something that I'm going to be going gung-ho about going forward, and that is style, presence, and divine femininity. Here's a quiz. It's designed for you because color is one of the main foundational points of a strong presence, style, and an image that provokes your power, because that's what we're about here. So again, a screenshot, a snapshot, and this is what we'll be sending a link across the stage here, back and forth, so that you can make sure that you get that link. Now, I'd like to put up the poster for my featured guest speaker, and I want you to be sure to take a screenshot and a snapshot of this, because this is what we're going to be talking about. I met this man in a networking group that I just joined, and I fell in love because I love the work that he's doing. So what I want you to do now, while I review for you a little bit about his background, I'm going to bring him up in just a second, not right now. His name is Mark Mathis. I think that's how he pronounces it. If not, he'll correct me. He's based in Montreal. If you've never been there, you get there. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. And he is a seasoned natural therapist, dynamic TEDx speaker, and a dedicated educator, passionate about sharing his knowledge, which is what we're going to be doing here today. And there's so much more I could go on to share with you. But before I do anything else, I just want you to sit back and help me welcome Mark to the stage. And I'd like to say, Mark, I'm honored to have you here today because your work excites me. I get excited anyway. How are you?
Thank you for the invite, Joe. I'm doing very well. And yourself? How's everything's doing? Good?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. And I really am excited about the work that you do. And Mark, I didn't want to go. By the way, how do you pronounce your last name? I wasn't
sure. You did it right on. You did it very well.
Sometimes the gods ride with me. That's all I can tell you. And you will understand that. But Mark, let me say this. I met you, and right away when you shared the work that you do and the title, it resonated with my soul. So I didn't want to share too much about it and give all the titles and so on and the work and what it means, but share with us a little bit about what you do before I get to some of the topics that we're going to be discussing, the bullet points today.
Well, what we do is we teach people. So what we're not coaches, we're not therapists. We teach you a method that I've developed over 5 years of research on neuroscience and quantum physics. Yes. So our work is really teaching people how to reset what really doesn't belong to you. Now, what I mean by doesn't belong to you, this could be a lot of things, is that most of your thoughts that you're having, the 50 to 60,000 thoughts that you have per day, well, these are based on your programs, conditionings, and beliefs. This is running your life. So what we get to do, we're 11 members of my team doing this all over the world, is to teach you a method that you can use every day and you can reset what doesn't belong to you. In a nutshell, that's what we get to do, and we're having fun doing it.
Well, I could imagine so, and you could not have been more succinct because that nailed it. And I remember when I met you and we chatted for the first time, I said to you, that reminds me a little bit of all of the work that different people are doing with different titles and labels, like that inner child, working with that inner child. And we spoke at length about that. But I like it when you say we teach people how to reset anything that's delaying their growth and their expansion to blossoming into who they're here to be. Love that. Now, one of the bullet points that you gave me, it was intriguing, exciting, and fascinating for me because I said, I want to know more, even though I think I might know about this. What doesn't belong to you? How do you address that and reset and share with people that? What doesn't belong to you? I mean, we all know what that means, but how do you explain that?
Well, the how to explain it, there's a lot of an explanation, but I'll give you an example of what
Good,
doesn't belong to you,
good, good,
which
good.
happened to me personally. Is
Okay.
that when I was 13 years old, I was at school. There was a career day, and we, all different types of careers. And my grandfather's a plumber, and I wanted to be an electrician
Uh-huh.
for that time. So when I came home that night, and I told my father, I said, "Hey, Dad, I'm thinking on becoming an electrician. What do you think?" And he just looked at me and says, "Well, you're not good enough in math to do that." Now, he continued the conversation, but the thing that I understood when I was 13 years old, that my father was telling me that I wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
So the way that he said it, the way that the energy came from him, and that program, this is a program of from him that was transferred over to me. And when I received that program, I started believing in that program. I started
Mm.
living that program. So everything that I would do from that moment on, since 13 years old, I was not good enough. I wasn't good at school. I wasn't good at this. I wouldn't have this job. All these things that I would tell myself because that was the program that I was in. Once I received my reset, that program just went boom, it's gone.
Wow.
And that's the programs. And we don't forget, this comes from our parents, it comes from our society. The publicity that you are seeing and that resonates with people, especially we're talking about women today. If you
Right.
receive a program that the size of your body is based on a program or condition, well, then you're living that program of the body, the size of your body, what you're putting into your body. So these are all programs, conditions, and beliefs.
Fascinating, fascinating. And thank you for the example, Mark, because all the time you're sharing with us that example, I'm thinking about my momsy, whom I loved dearly. And she would always say to me, Joy, Joy, you talk too much. Shut up. Get over in the corner. Sit up on it. Go away. Go away. You talk too much. You're bothering them. Leave them alone. But that's insatiable curiosity. So that was embedded in me for a long time. I was always a little girl who would sit way in the back because I didn't want to disturb anybody. It's amazing how this happens. It's that positioning and that programming and that how you see people and hear people around you when you can't formulate for yourself how
Exactly.
to position yourself to rise above it. I love that. That was a great explanation. Now let's jump to, and I know it's aligned with what you just shared with us. What is a state of presence?
Well, in simple, what we use is when we're teaching this, and we teach it to get you in a state of presence. What we mean by a state of presence, really, what it is in a simple terms, it's the absence of our programs, conditionings, and beliefs. That's all it is. There's this no magical space that you go into. There's no this woo hoo hoo stuff. It's just that the absence of your programs and conditions. So that means your programs and conditions do not work in that space at all. So when you're in that state of presence of who you are, because Joe, what we do is that there's nothing new that we're doing. There's not there. We're always in that state of presence. We've learned to be in that state of presence when you were 3 or 4 years old, well, people started programming you to do certain things that got you out of the out of the state of presence. But what
Mm-hmm.
we're doing is just teaching you to get back into that space of who you are in this moment. And that's all we do is to teach you back into that space, because what happens in your 50 to 60 trillion cells that you're in your body, now it recognizes that you're back into that state of presence, and the body will take over and it'll teach you what you need to be teaching about.
Wow, that was some explanation. And Mark, I don't assume anything anymore, but my work is all about something that somewhat on the back burner. And I use the word presence a lot. And I like the way you mention it, the absence of or state of your presence in the now.
In the now, yeah.
In the now, how you reset it to now. That presence is everything. And it can be any mode, any style, but it's the essence and the core of who you are connected, right? To the
Exactly.
real you.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the most graphic descriptions with clarity that I've received in a long time, because And you said something that I wanted to recall and I can't. You said it's actually the state of now. Is that how you said it,
Yeah,
or something like
it's
that?
now. It's just you being in this moment. That's it. Because Joy, the only thing that exists in our world right now is now. That's the only thing that exists.
I know. I know.
But if we go into what's going to happen later on today, or what happened in our past, well, we're bringing our programs and conditionings into the now, right in this moment. We're bringing that in, and we're using the mind and the quantum energy, saying that we're going back in our past of what we've learned from our programs and conditioning, and we're bringing that into this state of presence. It doesn't work anymore.
Well, that's very clear for me, and I'm sure for many people who are tuning in here, because this thing called time and change, in my humble opinion, please speak to this, and the now, it's all about being in present, being here, enjoying the moment at the heart and core and soul of you. And I always take it to the highest vibration and frequency of you, which is what your reset program is about. Am I assuming too much?
It's not a higher or lower energy. It's your energy. See, whatever you are in is that you're not measuring the state of presence. You're just being present in yourself. It's not a higher state or lower state. It's you being in the state of presence. So there's no judgment. There's no measurement from the state of presence. So it's not a higher self. There is no higher self. That's part of the programs and conditioning, that you need a higher self because you're programmed and conditioned to be in the lower self. So this is the program that we're all in.
Exactly.
But when you're outside of that program and conditioning, there is no measurement. There is no higher self. There is just you in the moment doing what you need to do in that moment.
Oh my goodness gracious, Mark, as my momsy would say, I have this deep love for my momsy, especially anyway, but most of us, it's never all, seldom all, but most of us have been under the umbrella of the higher and the lower vibration or frequency. And you're saying what you're telling us, and I am one of those, and there's no judgment. And it doesn't mean that the higher frequency or vibration is better than the lower. It just means that it's vastly different. But what you're saying is there is no difference. Am I hearing? Am I receiving?
There is no difference in the state of presence. There is no difference.
Presence. That's the key.
If you're in your programs and conditioning, you're thinking that you're vibrating in the higher self, but all you are doing is transferring that program onto other people. And so in reality, what we're doing, and when we measure it to a higher self, you're measuring everybody around you that they are in a lower self. And what we're doing is transferring that program on to other people. And Joy, all we're doing is saying to the person that we're in, because we are in a program or condition, all we're doing is transferring that over to them and saying, please don't buy from us. What I mean by not buying from us is that don't be part of it, because now I'm better than you because I'm in that higher vibration and you're not in there.
Well, Mark, this is an awakening in the best way for me, because now I've labeled myself the minister of enlightenment, awareness, and awakenings. I don't have judgment, but I have these great big eyes and I can see, but I don't judge, even when I see it and it's not. But what you're saying is that your state of presence, if I receive that, and I feel that I did, there's no judgment for you or for others.
No, you're just living the moment with who you're with.
You're living the moment for what you're in. Okay, well.
Yeah, so when, like today, Joy, I've always been now in the state of presence. The only thing that exists for me is to be with you, to see when you have this energy, which is the quantum energy inside, all of us have it. You have this energy that you're circulating to me and all your listeners. Well, that's coming from you. Now, if you have a program and condition attached to the energy that it is, well, then you're transferring that program and condition onto other people.
Well, powerful, powerful, Mark. I'm like a little kid off to grade school here. I'm always, because I can hardly wait to meet one-on-one with you. But let me share with you, or ask you, the bullet point that you gave me, and I want us to really speak a lot to this. You have, but expound on it a wee bit, Because what are programs, conditionings, and beliefs that, contingent upon our upbringing, our lifestyle, environment, and everything, that the majority of us have to rid ourselves of? That's the question.
Well, you cannot rid of something that doesn't belong to you.
Woo!
You cannot fix things that do not belong to you. You
Mm.
cannot let go of things that do not belong to you to let go of. Because if
Mm.
you're trying to fix something that's not yours, you're going to work on yourself for the next 20 years trying to fix what doesn't belong to you. By resetting what doesn't belong to you, it takes a fraction of a second to do. So
Wow.
when you're in that state of presence, you and only you have all the answers for you. But you've got to get yourself in that state of presence, and this is what we teach you to do. So this is the way that we look at it in a different way. And what happens, the results. That's why we only do two sets. Most of our work that we do is 2 sessions long, because we're not trying to fix you. We're trying to teach you that you can reset this on your own, that you don't need us anymore.
Wow. Mark, I find this more than enlightening and profound for many different reasons, because I have come to the realization, and most of us come to it at different times in our lives, depending on our growth process, that you are not here to really change anyone, right? Because you can't change anyone.
No.
You can only love them for who they are, where they are, and so on and so forth, and have that love back for yourself. So what you're speaking to in a much more profound way is just that. You can't rid yourself of anything. You can't let go of, but that's a whole new reset way of thinking, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. That's why I call my company Reset, because when you reset it, and this was my TED Talk in 2016, is how we can change our lives in a fraction of a second. Well, that's how fast it takes. That's all it is. Nothing more, nothing less. You automatically reset it. It doesn't come back and bite you, and you're in that space where you've always been in this state.
I can accept that. I can embrace that, because as a little girl, I knew that there was something, but I couldn't acknowledge or accept it for all the reasons. But then all of a sudden in my growth, it came to me. You're fine. You're just okay. You're better than okay.
Yeah.
And I don't like the word better, but you know what I mean. Listen, I want my engineer to put up your graphic, because that program that you're teaching all of us who are open enough to learn, Reset It, Neuro Quantum Experience. Learn to reset yourself in 90 minutes. And this is what I want everyone to do, is take a screenshot or a snapshot and make sure you get the link and connect. Because Mark, what you said, and I hope that everybody's taking a screenshot or a snapshot, you said something that's really beyond profound here. You said that we all come with this, and it's simple 1, 2, 3 steps. Now, we've all heard and we realize and we know, and somewhere intuitive, that intuition within knows it's not sometimes so easy and simple. But what makes yours so much easier and simpler than so many other of these programs that are out here? Now, that might be an unfair question, but life isn't fair. It's beautiful.
So what's happening, Joy, is that there's a lot of programs out there, and I've studied most of them, most of the stuff. And don't forget, I come from a background where I used to go teach a little bit about coaching and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
what happens is that because we're in a program or conditioning, we want to teach other people based on those programs and conditioning, all we are doing is transferring our programs and conditioning to other people. That's all we're doing. When people come through my program to be certified, what we do is go through 2 to 3 months of resetting all your issues so that you're free of all those issues, so that you're able to teach this method. If you're not free of your programs and conditioning, forget it. You cannot teach it, because you're not in the state of presence to teach it.
And Mark, if someone comes to you and they want your program but not to teach it, is it still the 1, 2, 3, or is it the?
It's the 1, 2, 3, two sessions, 90-minute, 2 90-minute sessions. Now, Joy, in our society, we've got people that need that extra time, that need. Yes, of course, we have a program. We have an extra session if they need to go into it, or we have a program that we do a lot with food, so that food takes a little bit more time to reset because there's a lot of pieces to into that space. So when we're teaching about the food industry and how that is programmed and conditioned to make your body to go in a different place where you don't want it to go, well, these are the programs and conditionings around food.
Let me ask you this, because all the time you're sharing that with me, I'm thinking the beauty of life is the diversity. That's a given. So this is not an easy question, but I don't think it'll throw you. And I'm not asking you to put your crown on, but what are the, let's say, top 3 to 5 elements, qualities, traits that people come to you with that they want to reset? Or do they know? And what do you discover?
Well, most of them don't know what they need to reset. And that's the beautiful part. Because when they come in, they're curious. They're curious about the program. They heard it from we're getting 4th, 5th generations of references of people coming through our program. When some people go through our program, they become raving fans of ours. So they're talking about the program. Oh, you got to go through the quantum experience with Mark, live that experience, and you'll see what's going to happen after. And most of them there's some similarities about food, about the body, especially for women, about the body images, how we treat our bodies and how people look at our bodies, and the reaction of the programs and conditioning of men transferring their programs and conditioning onto women, and women transferring their programs onto conditionings onto men. That's one of the things. And the money, success, stress, anxiety, all these things are results of our programs, conditionings, and beliefs.
Okay, well, you answered it for me, Mark, because I'm thinking probably it's money, it's food, it's body, it's attention for men and women in different ways. And so the way that they come and approach that, or you support them in the discovery of what it is, would be the genius of what you do.
What Joy, when we teach our clients to get in the state of presence, and this is the program that we do, they and only they have the answers. We don't have the answers. We do not have the answers for anybody. What we teach you is to get in a space in your mind that you are so well with yourself that when you ask the questions, you get the answers.
Oh my goodness.
That's really the state of presence.
I'm going to ask you if I can borrow that expression. I've been using it in different ways, but today you have ignited something in me. And the way that you just ended with the remarks and comments that you made, our state of presence, we already have the answers. I've always felt this myself. And sometimes you don't acknowledge, address, and embrace them, but it's there.
Yes. It's always been there, Joy. It's always been there. But we're programmed and conditioned not to see it. And what we teach you is teach you how to reset those programs and conditions so that when you are always in the state of presence, only you have the answers. Only you have the answers. You don't need a coach. You don't need a specialist. You don't need anything. You've got the answers for yourself.
Yes.
All we do is teach you how to get there.
Well, Mark, I tell you, we couldn't end on a better note. And let me just say this to you. I just met with someone recently. They said, you don't want just fans. You want raving fans. Well, you've just met one. I can't wait to meet with you and become, as I already am, but more so, a raving fan. What food for thought takeaway do you want to leave us with briefly?
The food for thought is, we all go through issues in our lives. All we have to do, we all go through I don't like using problems, but all these events that you go through your life, all you have to realize, all the events that you're living right now has nothing to do with you.
Oh, what a way to end. Mark, thank you. My engineer is going to put you in the green room, and I can't wait to see you and chat with you the next time around. Blessings to you, my friend.
Thank you, Joy. Thank you for having me. Thank you all your audience to be part of this. This is just a beautiful, beautiful conversation.
I enjoyed it immensely, and I'm sure everyone did. Thank you. Friends, what can I say? The time flies here. I can say this. Again, happy Veterans Day to all of those who served us all over the world and the country here and any and everywhere, because you are honored and your having this day is absolutely a necessary thing to do. So blessings to you all. May you all have the best week ever. Make it one of the best weeks ever. Don't I say that every week? And I send you always from my heart to your heart much, much love. Be sure and connect with Mark. All the best. Much love. Until the next time. Cheers.